What's up, guys? We're going to be doing section 4.3 today, but as you can see on these notes that we have for us, it's actually 4.1 to 4.3. Why? Because we're going to go back and review everything. We've already learned about standard form. We already definitely know about slope-intercept form. And today we're going to learn about point-slope form. Okay, but even in this section 4.3, we go back and review slope-intercept and standard. Okay, now remember, the word form just implies the appearance, the way it's organized, right? So you're gonna be able to take an equation, like let's say I told you, here's the m is 3, the b is 4, your equation's y equals 3x plus 4. Technically, that equation could be changed to a standard form. It could also be changed to a point slope or vice versa. Here's a fact about these forms. You can change an equation to look like any of these forms. Okay, it's kind of like having Play-Doh and messing with it, changing the shape of what it is. It also says you could use any of these forms to graph the line of an equation. Let's jump right into the assignment on 4.3, and let's focus in just on this part of our notes, okay? Why do you think we call it point-slope form? Because if it's in this form, if the equation is organized in this manner, you'll be able to see a point, right? Now, what do I mean by a point? A coordinate. It says down here, x1 and y1 are just numbers from a coordinate x1, y1. So if it looks like this, if it's in this form, whatever number is here and here, that will be a coordinate on your line, okay? That's why they call it point. And how about the slope? Well, because there's a slope right here. So whenever it's organized in this manner, that's what we call point slope form. And why do we call it point slope form? Because the point x1, y1 is right here, and the slope m is right there. That's why they call it point slope form. And of course, knowledge from the past, remember, if you're giving two coordinates, you can find the slope using the slope formula. So if I give you 2 points, you could use the slope to find the slope formula, and then you could use one of those points to write it in point slope form. Again, the best way to get good at this is to see it in action. Let's look at our homework. So on this homework, we're going to be doing 1 through 21 odd. And the beginning part of this homework says, write an equation in point slope form of the line that passes through each point with the given slope. Okay, so they give you, on number 1, they give you a point and they give you a slope. So all you have to do is write it in point slope form, which is y minus, and I like to use different colors. y1, I'm going to put in red, equals m, I'm going to put in blue, times x minus x1. Okay, so what we need to do is take the m that they give us, which is -3, and put it right there where the m belongs, and take this, which is really an x1, y1, and plug in the x1 value of 2 right there, and the y1 value of 2 right there. So I hope that makes sense. You know what? Let me do this. There you go. That way it's crystal clear. I cut and pasted right here. And the best way to insert numbers into any formula or any form is to leave blank spots where you're going to put your numbers. So let's start by saying y minus y1, I'm going to leave a blank spot, equals n, blank spot, parenthesis, x minus x1, blank spot, close parenthesis. So what belongs right here? The y1 value, which is 2. So put that 2 right there. The m value is -3, put the -3 right there. And finally, x minus x1, which is also a 2. And we're done. That's your equation in point slope form. That is your answer, ladies and gentlemen. Nice and easy, right? So we're doing the odd ones. I just did number 1. I'm pretty sure that you guys could do number 3. Oh, some people get confused with number 3 because the slope is 0. Those are like the easiest ones to do. Okay, so part of today's lesson is for you to memorize this. Y minus y1 equals m, parentheses, x minus x1. Memorize that. The sooner you memorize it, the better. So here we go. We have a coordinate x1, y1, all right? And the formula that I just asked you to memorize, the point slope form, is y minus y1 equals m, parenthesis, x minus x1, close parenthesis. And I always say rewrite the form with blank spots before you plug it in. Exactly like that. And then all you got to do is take your y1 value, which is -4, put it right there. Take your m value, which is 0, put it right there. And then take your x value of -3 and put it right there. And of course, anytime you have a minus minus, change it to plus plus. So what do we have here? We have y plus 4 equals 0 times x plus 3. Now, I guess you could leave it in this form. However, whenever you multiply 0 times anything, it becomes 0. So technically, your answer would be y plus 4 equals nothing. So you would subtract the 4, y equals -4. But even that is not in point slope form. This is in point slope form. What makes it be in point slope form when it's organized and you could clearly see your point -3, -4, and your slope 0. Okay, so this is point slope form. But it's just kind of weird with the slope 0. That would cancel this whole thing out because 0 times anything is 0. Anyhow, let's move on. I'm pretty sure you guys could do number 5. And let's move on to the second section of this homework. It says write each equation in standard form. A lot of us might have forgot what standard form is. It's in our notes. What is standard form? It's capital AX plus capital BY equals capital C. And why do I say capital A, capital B, capital C? That way it'll help you remember that you don't want fractions and you don't want decimals. You want nice numbers that are either positive or negative, but like maybe a 5x with a -2y and a -6, or maybe a 3x plus 4y minus or equals a -10, something like that. That's standard form. And again, you want your x's and your y's on the left side. You want your number by itself on the right side. So let's take a look at this next section. These equations are obviously in point slope form. Like on number 7, if I told you, do you know the slope? Yeah, the slope is 3. Do you know a point on this line? Yeah, a point would be a +2 and a +11. Now, why do I say positive? Because you have to think opposite of what you see here because of the minuses. Now, that might be a little confusing. Let's not worry about that right now. Right now, let's worry about that if you want something in standard form, ax plus by equals c, that means that there's no parentheses, and you don't want parentheses. So what would you have to do? You'd have to distribute 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -2 is -6. And then bring down the rest, the y minus 11. Now, you want your x's and your y's on the left side of the equal sign. All right, so let's get this x to the left side of the equal sign to get our x's and y's over there. So I am going to subtract 3x. That way it'll move to this side. And I might as well get rid of the -11. I don't want to confuse anybody. I want to do 2 steps in one. I want to get rid of this -11 by adding 11. And what I do to one side, I do to the other side, plus 11. So let's combine what we can. Well, we said these canceled out, these canceled out. Over here, y minus 3x. I cannot do that. That's like saying, look, I have 1 apple, take away 3 oranges. You just can't do that, right? So you're just going to rewrite it. Now, you could rewrite it y minus 3x, but you want it in standard form where your x term is first, your y term is second, and the number by itself is on the other side of the equal sign. So let's do it like that. Ax plus by equals, in this case, 5. Let's do that. So we have ax, which is -3x, plus the y equaling, and what is -6 plus 11? That is 5. So this is standard form. However, most standard form solutions or answers in the back of the worksheets on standard form will change this a value to be positive. For some reason, they never leave this negative. So if you wanted to change this to a +3, all you have to do is multiply everything by -1. So your final standard form equation will be a +3x with the -y equaling a -5. That would be your standard form equation right there. So that's pretty straightforward. All we're doing on this second section of the homework is distributing, the way I did right here, distribute, and then move things around to get your x's and your y's on the left side and your numbers on the right side, okay? So we did 7. You could do 11. I'll do 13. Wow, it's going to be a real short assignment for you guys. I'll do 13. And of course, you're following along because you're supposed to do 13 on your homework, even though I'm doing it for you. Follow along, please. So you want this in standard form. This isn't point slope form, right? It's already in point slope form. Your m is 1.5. Your coordinate, your point is -2, -4. But they don't want it in point slope form. They want it in standard form. And what about standard form? Well, first of all, they don't want decimals or fractions. Okay, they don't want decimals or fractions. So let's think about what 1.5 really is. 1.5 is really a 1.5. Okay, so let's do this over here. 1.5 is $1.50. It's like a 1.5. Now let's change that mixed number into an improper fraction. You're going to go 2 times 1 and then plus 1. 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3, and you put it over that original denominator 2. So 1.5 is really the same thing as 3/2. I mean, think about it. $3 divided by 2 is $1.50. So what we have here is y plus 4 equals 3/2 times x plus 2. It's still in point slope form. Now they want us to do standard form, which means we don't want decimals or fractions, and I could get rid of fractions by multiplying everything by the denominator 2. Now when I say everything, I mean the y times 2, the 4 times 2, and even the 3/2 times 2, but not the inside of the parentheses. You're not going to multiply this by 2 or that by 2. You don't do that. Why not? Because whatever I do to this outside guy, it's like if I did it to the inside guys because of the distribution property that exists right there. So just put times 2 right here. Ultimately, it just cancels it out, and you have a new equation. Your new equation is 2y plus 8 equals 3 parentheses x plus 2. So you see how we got rid of the decimal by changing it to a fraction and then multiplying everything by the denominator? Now let's get rid of the parentheses by distributing. So if I distribute that 3, it'll give me 3 times x, that's 3x. 3 times 2, that's 6. Bring down the equal sign, the 8 and the 2y with the plus sign in front of the 8. And now, again, standard form is having your x's and your y's on the left side of the equal sign and having your number over there on the right side. So again, I'm going to do 2 steps in one. I'm going to get this 3x and move it to the left by simply subtracting 3x. Right here it cancels. Over here subtracting 3x, it doesn't cancel. I'm going to have to rewrite it. Now I'm also going to get rid of this positive 8 by subtracting 8 right here. And what you do to one side, do to the other side. And let's get our new equation. Well, on the left side, 2y take away 3x, I can't do it. It's like having 2 apples and trying to take away 3 bananas. You just can't do it. So we're just going to rewrite it. But again, we want the x term first. So let's begin by writing negative 3x. And then I'll put the positive 2y. And then I'll put the equal sign. And then over here we have 6 take away 8, which is negative 2. So my next step to get it completely in the best standard form possible is to change that negative 3 to a positive 3 by multiplying everything by negative 1, and then I'll be done. So I'll have a positive 3x minus 2y and a positive 2 over there. That's my standard form equation for number 13. I hope you guys understand how to do that. Now for the final section here, it says write each equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so yes, they are in point-slope form, but you want to change them to slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? We might as well jot it down right here. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And of course, you need your slope and you need your y-intercept to say that it's in slope-intercept form. So if you look at any one of these, like they're all in point-slope form again. Like number 17, it's in point-slope form. It's not in slope-intercept. What do we know about y equals mx plus b? There are no parentheses. So I need to get rid of the parentheses by distributing. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. Bring down the equal sign. Bring down the y plus 1. And now it's almost in y equals mx plus b. I need to get the y by itself. So let's get rid of this plus 1 by doing the opposite, minus 1. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side. So your new equation becomes y equals negative 7x minus 8. That's your slope-intercept form equation, and that's all they're asking you to do on this third section. So I did 17. Hopefully you guys could do 19 and 21. I guess I'll do 21. A lot of people are freaking out. So you're just doing 19. Man, you guys got a really easy homework assignment because I did most of it. I mean, you guys still have to have it down, so please follow along. I want to rewrite this point slope form equation in slope intercept form. So obviously I don't want parentheses. So let's distribute the negative 2 times x. That's negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1/4. You just put the 2 over a 1, multiply the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. A negative times a negative is a positive. 2 up on top over 4 on the bottom. And that actually reduces down to 1/2, right? So if you want, change that 2/4, change to a 1/2. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Equals, let me bring down the rest, y minus 2/3. So we have an equation that technically has fractions in them. If you don't want the fractions, you could get rid of the fractions by multiplying everything by the LCD or by each denominator of the fraction that you want to get rid of, right? So if I wanted to specifically get rid of the 2/3, I could multiply everything by 3. If I wanted to specifically get rid of the 1/2, I could multiply everything by 2. Or if I wanted to get rid of both fractions at the same exact time, I multiply everything by 6. Because 3 and 2, the LCD is 6. So I want to get rid of both fractions at the same time by multiplying everything by the LCD 6. As you could see, 6 times y is 6y. Now over here, the 6, you could go 6 times 2, getting a 12, but then 12 divided by 3 is 4, okay? And you still have the minus sign right here, so put the minus sign in front of the 4. You still have the equal sign, and over here, 6 times negative 2 is negative 12 with an x, so you'll have a negative 12 with an x. And last but not least over here, 6 times 1 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. So you get a 3 right there. And now let's get the y by itself, right? They want slope intercept form. They want y equals mx plus b. So let's get the y by itself. Let's get rid of this minus 4 first by going plus 4 and plus 4. New equation, 6y equals negative 12x plus 7. Final step, get rid of that 6. Divide by 6, divide by 6, divide by 6. Cancels. This becomes negative 2. So my final slope-intercept form equation on number 21 is y equals negative 2x plus the fraction 7/6. It's okay to have fractions. That is your answer for number 21. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done over half of your homework. I need you guys to go back and do all the odd ones, right? 1, 3, 5, still not done. 7 I did for you. 9, do number 9. Do number 11. 13 I did for you. Do number 19. And that's it. That's your homework.